You are listening to talkSPORT. Yesterday we brought you the news that Everton had got in touch with the PGMOL, the refereeing body in the country, to talk about and ask for an apology from the Premier League for the handball decision that came at the end of their loss to Manchester City. Now, we talked about it yesterday. I think we all pretty much agreed that it was a blatant handball. Darren Ambrose, you got anything other than that to say on it?
No, absolutely outrageous decision, of course, and they should have got a penalty. It was handball. Everyone knew it. The Manchester City players knew it. Rodri knew it. So that's obviously been discussed. I think it's a little bit cringe, Everton asking for an apology, in all honesty.
Why is it cringe? Surely they're just trying to place on record their disappointment with the standards of refereeing.
You can place that on record without asking for an apology, and I think it's even worse that they've been given an apology.
Well, I thought that they made a formal complaint, although someone has told me that they asked for an apology. I didn't see the letter, but I thought it was a formal complaint.
Yeah, and it's said now that Mike Dean has publicly apologised.
Mike Riley,
has apologised to Frank Lampard.
And Bill Kenwright.
And Bill Kenwright. I mean, you're opening a can of worms here. Everyone who has a bad decision, and now they're going to be expecting an apology. I think there's been bad decisions from VAR. What does this achieve, this apology?
But what it does is it brings into sharp focus that a major decision in a crucial football match has gone the wrong way, and it's genuinely accepted by everybody,
even the
PGMOL themselves, that actually that decision should have gone Everton's way. That could have changed the result. It could change the relegation picture. It might decide the title.
So do you think the apology will make Frank Lampard and the Everton players feel any better this morning? It might have the opposite effect. It might make them feel worse that they've actually admitted they've made a mistake. And I think it's a really interesting situation now with Chris Kavanagh, who was responsible for the VAR decision. I think he's on fourth official duty for Newcastle against Brighton on Saturday. What happens when he next takes charge of an Everton game? Will he take charge of an Everton game again, given that Frank Lampard was pretty vociferous in his criticism of Chris Kavanagh straight after the game, speaking to you on talkSPORT? I remember an incident going back a few years now. Southampton made a complaint, I think against Mark Clattenburg, for a rude comment that he made against Adam Lallana during a game, and they actually asked for Mark Clattenburg to be taken off their future matches. And I seem to recall actually the Premier League put him on the very next Southampton game, so it'd be interesting.
Yep, will be. What do you do to change the standard of refereeing? Are you happy with the standard of refereeing in the league?
No, I'm not. No, of course I'm not. I'm not happy with the standard of refereeing.
Do you think it's got worse from when you were playing in the Premier League?
Yes, and I think it's down to VAR.
So you think it's been complicated by VAR?
Yeah, of course. I think referees they have a really hard job. They have a tough job, of course, and I think it's made worse now through VAR. I think they rely on VAR too much. I think prior to that, you had a half decent standard of refereeing. Of course you did, and they got mistakes. They made mistakes. But VAR now, they're relying too much on VAR. They're relying on getting sent to the screens. There's certain situations where referees go to the screens where they're clearly told in their ears. Everyone in the crowd know what's going to happen. Everyone knows on telly when they go to the screen, they're going to change their minds. Absolutely, and I think it's going to take a referee, 1, 2, that has the cojones to say no. I'm going to stick to my on-field decision and deal with them consequences, because this is the situation. They're relying on VAR too much, but they weren't that bad before VAR. VAR is not the issue. That's technology, but it's another referee's opinion. Chris Kavanagh in this situation at Stockley Park.
The standard of refereeing in the Premier League isn't good enough. Bearing in mind this is the best league in the world. The officials are not the best officials in the world. I think that's a big problem. We've had a text message here. It's anonymous, which is a shame, because I think whoever sent it to us is talking a lot of sense. They say VAR is subjective. It should only be used for clear-cut cases. Is it offside? Is it a goal? If a human being is still making the decision whether or not it's a foul, just leave it to the referee. I think there's something to be said for that.
Absolutely. And I'm not surprised that the talkSPORT audience have come up with some salient points. I think they're pretty used to coming up with decent points about the game that they love. But ultimately, you're adding an extra cook into the kitchen, aren't you, really? And that clouds sometimes
It's not
judgment.
needed. It's not needed.
Here's a question for you. You just said it was the best league in the world, and they don't have the best officials in the world. One of the issues that one of our producers, Joe, who is running the show this week, he's referee, occupying lower league Sunday football.
Get him at Stockley Park. Go on, Joe.
He's totally qualified, ready to go. But he will tell us stories about officials and why they haven't progressed through the ranks, and why we're struggling to get officials to come and play, to come and operate through the leagues because of the abuse that they get when they're refereeing Sunday football, etc., etc. But if we haven't developed enough referees of a sufficient quality to sustain our Premier League the way it should we not be spending more money on acquiring top talent from around the world? We, I think, all agree this is not the English Premier League anymore. It's very much the World League. It's the Premier League. It is the top league across the globe. So why not go out and purchase, buy, hire the best officials in the world?
It sounds a fantastic plan. It sounds like it could work. But why would any referee from refereeing in other leagues around Europe, if not the world, want to come to England?
For a huge paycheck.
But they can see how wrong the VAR is being used. They can see the abuse.
Would you not go to another club?
Well, it's kind of different though. To up sticks as a referee and move potentially yourself or your whole family to another country.
Just seen Kieran Trippier go from Atletico Madrid to Newcastle United.
Are you suggesting we should have a transfer market for referees?
Not transfer market, because I don't think there's need
how much more will referees be getting paid in the Premier League than in La Liga, for instance?
But increase the budget. Listen, this is the multi-billion-pound sport that gets a lot of money, more money than anybody else from TV revenue. Siphon some of that off. Instead of just giving it all to the players, you actually need top referees to have the best product. So give some of it to them. Get the best ones. Get Felix Brick.
Do you not think that the VAR in England, first and foremost, should be going to La Liga, should be going to other places that are using the technology?
It went to Australia and got Jared Gillett.
But
how did that work?
And then learning how to use it properly. Because in England, we're not using it properly. It's subjective still, and you've got obviously clearly the wrong people. You've got referees that referee on one match, is VAR on the next match. It's not being done right.
That's a good point that you make. And Sam said there's not enough officials, and he's right, because you can have a situation where, for example, say Chris Kavanagh will take charge of a Premier League game on a Saturday afternoon, and then Sunday lunchtime he's sat in the VAR office at Stockley Park. Now, we know that even commentating a football match for 90 minutes is mentally tiring. For a referee, you're not only having to have your mental faculties about you, you have to be physically fit as well to get around the pitch for 90 minutes. It's unthinkable that if you've refereed a game on a Saturday, you won't be slightly jaded and therefore your vision slightly impaired when you get to Stockley Park on a Sunday. We need more referees.
It's not just that. We had the situation, I think, who was it? It was Ryan Fraser getting cleaned out, and the same VAR was on the VAR for Gabriel Jesus. And he got so much stick for not giving the Ryan Fraser. They then gave the one against Jesus that wasn't. So I think you need a separation of VAR officials and referees. Well, that's the other thing.
That's a great point about the separation, because Lee Mason, who retired from refereeing, actually has gone to full-time VARing now.
Which is a worry.
Well, actually, the principle behind it is a good one, I think. I think you should be a VAR or you should be a referee. I don't think you should be doing both.
Help if you were a decent referee, though, to go and sit at Stockley
Park.
Park.
Picking on
Instead
him,
of the budget
listen, I'm not the only one who picked on Lee Mason, by the way.
The budget situation is, you're totally right, but instead of the budget, upping the budget and go and get the world's best, why not up the budget and bring people through the ranks in England? Which I think you could do, but
for an immediate sticking plaster, you need to raise the level. And I think if you actually brought in some of the best referees from across Europe, then you would elevate the performances of those that we already have, train them better, and give them a rest that they're not driving from one end of the country to the other to do Stockley Park one day and Liverpool the next. Listen, I'm sure we'll talk about that.
You'd be great at Stockley Park.
Why?
Because you know the rule book inside out.
I don't know it inside out. I do have a copy of it.
You go to bed with it.
I carry a copy of it with me everywhere, yeah.
You'd have given a penalty.
When? On Saturday?
Chris Kavanagh,
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, 03717 223344 is the number to call. If you would like to get in touch with us this morning, 81089 on the text, you can tweet me at Sam Matterface. We'd love to hear from you.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.